In March of 2008, the US Marines of the 1st Battalion, the 9th Marine Regiment, deployed from Camp Lejeune in North Carolina to begin a 7-month deployment to Iraq. Arriving in Kuwait, the battalion moved by road to the Iraqi city of Ramadi, a trip Lance Corporal Ernesto Treviso remembers. Our ride to Ramadi from Kuwait was long and thankfully peaceful, not knowing what to expect on entering enemy territory. We stayed at Camp Ramadi for only 4 weeks before convoying to our area of operations at Joint Security Station Nasser. Joint Security Station Nasser, which was located on the outskirts of the city, was a small training outpost for the Iraqi police and consisted of several buildings that were garrisoned by 50 US Marines and 100 Iraqi policemen. Arriving at the station in mid-April, 50 Marines from the 1st Battalion, the 9th Marine Regiment, moved into the outpost where they were to take over from the Marines of the 2nd Battalion, the 8th Marine Regiment, who were in the final stages of their tour of Iraq and expected to return home to America in a few weeks' time. Security for the outpost was provided by 2 checkpoints, which were manned by at least 2 US Marines and 10 Iraqi policemen, and in the early morning of the 22nd of April 2008, Lance Corporal Ernesto Treviso and another Marine were posted to one of the checkpoints. The two held their post until 0600 when they were relieved by Lance Corporal Jordan Haerter of the 1st Battalion, the 9th Marines, and Corporal Jonathan Yale of the 2nd Battalion, the 8th Marines. Being from 2 completely different battalions, the two had never met before their tasking on the checkpoint, where they occupied a sandbagged hut and watched the road running into the outpost, with their orders being to ensure no unauthorised personnel or vehicles passed. With them at the checkpoint gate were 2 Iraqi policemen, in addition to a further 8 officers who were manning the junction at the end of the road. For 2 hours, the 2 Marines held their posts without incident, when suddenly at 0745, a large blue truck turned in onto the road leading up to the station. It was clear the truck was hostile as they began to pick up speed and swerve in and out of the concrete blocks situated on the road. Realising the threat, some of the Iraqi policemen at the junction opened fire with their AK-47s, whilst others dispersed and sought cover, as the truck continued at full speed towards the checkpoint gate. Here, Corporal Jonathan Yale raised his M249 light machine gun and began to fire into the cabin of the truck, whilst Lance Corporal Jordan Haerter, who was directly to his side, did the same with his M4. Laying down accurate fire, the 2 Marines stood their ground and were able to kill the driver, whose last act was to pull the trigger on a device and detonate over 2,000 pounds of explosives stored in the back of the truck. Inside the Joint Security Station at the time was Lance Corporal Benjamin Tapage, a Marine with the 1st Battalion, who recalls, "I heard the M249 go off at a cyclic rate and then a detonation along with a flash. It blew me at least 3 metres from where I was standing. Then I heard a Marine start yelling, 'We got hit, we got hit.'" The explosion rocked through the area, leaving a 1 metre deep crater on the road, levelling a nearby mosque, significantly damaging multiple buildings, and wounding 8 Iraqi police officers, 24 civilians, and 3 US Marines who were standing over 100 metres away. Recovering from the initial shock of the blast, the Marines inside the station rushed out to the site of the attack, where some established firing positions in case of further threats, whilst others tended to the wounded, including Corporal Yale and Lance Corporal Haerter, who were both pulled free from the rubble of the now destroyed checkpoint. Tragically, the blast had instantly killed Lance Corporal Jordan Haerter and left Corporal Jonathan Yale seriously wounded, as US Marines fought to save his life. Sadly, Corporal Jonathan Yale passed away as a result of his wounds a short while later. From when the truck turned onto the road leading to the outpost to the moment it was stopped just metres away from the checkpoint gate, only 6 seconds had passed. In that time, Corporal Jonathan Yale and Lance Corporal Jordan Haerter, who had known each other for no more than 2 hours, identified the threat and together made the decision to stand their ground and neutralise the enemy, thus saving the lives of over 150 American and Iraqi personnel. Reflecting on the event afterwards, Lance Corporal Lawrence Tillery of the 1st Battalion, the 9th Marines, explains, "I have a son back home, and I know if that truck would have made it to where it was going, I wouldn't be here today. Because of Lance Corporal Haerter and Corporal Yale, I'll be able to see my son again. They gave me that opportunity." Another Marine, Staff Sergeant Kenneth Grooms, expands on this statement. I'm not sure if I could even put in the right words what it took for those two Marines that day to stare death in the face and say, "You're not taking my brothers, you are not passing." Several days after the attack, US General John Kelly, who was the overall commander of coalition forces in the Ramadi region at the time, pushed forward a recommendation for both Lance Corporal Jordan Haerter and Corporal Jonathan Yale to be posthumously awarded the Navy Cross, the US Navy's second highest military decoration. General Kelly later stated, 6 seconds, not enough time to think about their families, their country, their flag, or about their lives, but more than enough time for two very brave young men to do their duty into eternity.